It always starts exactly the same way. The pocket vibrates, or the notification light blinks. And before your brain even registers what you are doing, your hand is already halfway to your pocket. The hand reaches before the mind even does. It is this tiny, almost invisible gap right there between the stimulus, that little buzzing piece of glass, and your response. And in that tiny gap, that is where a man either stays free or he just starts living on complete autopilot. We think we are in control, but are we? Really? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus had this figured out 2,000 years ago. He talked about the dichotomy of control. What happens outside of you? Not yours to command. Your boss sends a nasty email, the traffic stops, the phone buzzes. None of that is yours. But your response? That is entirely yours. But the slavery we fall into today, it isn't some dramatic chains and shackles thing. It is quiet. It looks like, I'm just checking this real quick. It looks like snapping at your kid because you're distracted. It looks like just one more video. It is a slow, undramatic drift into being owned by things that do not care about you. Let's strip all the academic language away. The urge shows up first. Your brain gets that little itch. But the urge is not an order. You do not have to obey it just because it showed up in your head. That little pause, that 8-second window before you react, that is the whole battlefield. If you can just stand there, name the urge, actually say to yourself, okay, I am feeling the itch to distract myself right now, and not obey it, you've already taken back territory. You are no longer on autopilot. I will tell you, I fall into this trap too. Just last week, I was working on a difficult piece of writing. The words weren't coming. My brain felt tired. And without even thinking, my hand just went straight for the phone. I didn't need to check anything. I was just running from the discomfort of the hard work. And what did it cost me? It cost me 20 minutes of focus, sure. But more than that, it cost me my peace. It made me feel scattered, reactive. It broke the practice. We have to see these moments for what they are. Information, not a verdict. So how do we actually change this? Liberation is not some grand, spiritual fantasy where you never feel the urge to check your phone or snap back in anger again. That is a myth. No, liberation is the quiet, repeated act of simply not being owned by the urge when it shows up. One honest struggle. One small, undramatic return to presence. That is how a man becomes less reactive. It is built in the repetitions, not the rhetoric. Here is a concrete protocol you can use today. When that impulse hits, when the jaw tightens or the hand reaches, just stop. Take one breath. Say to yourself in your own mind, this is an urge, not a command. Then just wait 10 seconds before you do anything. 10 seconds. If that feels too long, make the return even smaller. Put the phone face down across the room. Step away from the kitchen counter. Delay the snack or the sharp reply by 3 minutes. 0 breaks the practice. 3 minutes maintains it. You aren't trying to erase your desires or pretend you're some perfect, unfeeling statue. You are just creating a little bit of breathing room between the feeling and the doing. And inside that little bit of space, that is where your freedom actually lives. That is where you decide what kind of man you are going to be in the next moment. You don't have to walk this path alone. If you want to do this work with men who are actually in the arena, step through the door and join us at ironstrengthens.in. For the next 24 hours, I want you to practice just one deliberate pause. Before you check the phone first thing in the morning, before you give that sharp reply, or before you give in to that first craving, just pause and ask yourself, what did I obey today that I didn't actually have to obey? Stand firm, think clearly, and stay engaged. As iron strengthens iron, so one man strengthens another. Talk soon.